What's up, guys, and welcome to Work Wednesday. I was going to do a different video today where I talked about the perfect car for the musician, but I realized, you know what, there's only a few days left before Christmas. There's only a few days left of Hanukkah. There's only a few days left before the end of the year. So you might be looking for that perfect small gift to slide into someone's anything. So I figured I'd give you a few small gift ideas so that you could do some last minute shopping if you need to, or if you're watching this because you're the musician, send this video to someone you love for some great gift ideas. Here we go. So a metronome is a musician's best friend, whether you're a pianist or you're a drummer or you're a saxophonist or a violinist or a guitarist. Any musician needs a metronome. Even if they don't think they do, they do. Even if they already have one, having a second one is super useful. For example, I have the first one I'm going to recommend here somewhere and I can't find it. So having a second one would be super useful because maybe it got stolen, maybe I left it at a practice space. It's always a good idea to have one. Even if the person already has one, it's always a good present because they can have one somewhere else, meaning I could keep one at a practice space. I could also keep one here. I could have one next to me, but I could have one in my room or in the living room for when no one's around and I want to practice. And it can just live somewhere. And there's different looking ones, so some of them can look like furniture. So here we go. This beautifully blurry picture is the Boss metronome Dr. Beat. It's the one that I have. I just can't find it. And I know it's expensive. It's not for everybody. But it's really cool. You can do a whole bunch of different things. You can subdivide, you can set loops, you can put drum grooves in there, I'm pretty sure. Comment below if I'm wrong about that. No, it's the drum machine. Yeah. So the thing is amazing. A lot of drummers that I'm friends with have used it in the past, and I have one somewhere, or maybe it's been stolen or is missing, but it is an awesome one for the serious musician. Your other option is a classic. This one, this is also a classic. This wasn't the one I was thinking, but this one is a classic because most of us have had parents with this sitting in the living room somewhere. This one looks great in any scenario. It's a famous old brand. I'm sure I had this exact same one when I was a kid sitting on top of the piano. And this could sit out in the living room and no one in the family is gonna care because it looks like a piece of furniture and it's kind of a cool piece to have out. Last but not least, an affordable option if you don't want to spend that much on someone because maybe they're a cousin or a niece or a nephew. This is a classic. It's a quartz movement for you watch fans. It is the Seiko metronome. This also lived in my house as something that moved around the house. It honestly does the job perfectly. It tells you what it is as far as if it's in the field of Allegro or Presto or different speeds. It shows you which those speeds are considered, so it's kind of a great learning tool as well. Or if your music just has those notations for time on it, it gives you what those live in as far as a range to practice. Great gift, battery operated, won't let you down. It's also a great price, 25 bucks. How can you beat that? So option number 2 for the perfect gift is a notebook with manuscript or tablature. Here are 2 options. The first one is of manuscript. This is for the musician who maybe has ideas, and both of these are for the musician in your life because if you have ideas, you want to write them down so you don't forget them. I wrote down thousands of song ideas when I was a kid. I mainly used tablature at that point because I didn't read music extremely well. Now I write everything down in notation because it makes more sense to me than tablature at this point. I have a video about why guitar players can't read. You should watch that if you're confused. I guess it's over here. It explains why guitar players have a difficult time reading. It has nothing to do with who they are. It has to do with the instrument. Anyway, moving on. Here's option 1. This option right here is manuscript paper. So it just has blank manuscript that you can write musical notes on. This is for the musician who knows how to read and likes to write down musical ideas that way. Think pianists, saxophonists, violinists. Most musicians are taught traditionally. Pretty much bass players and guitar players are the ones that might want this one instead. This is tablature, so it's gonna look like that. You can write out chord ideas, you can write out tablature. This is a perfect gift for the loved one who is a musician, because it inspires you to do some writing. And it comes in one of my favorite colors, turquoise, but you can get it in any of these crazy zany colors if you know what your loved one enjoys. Me personally, I probably would go with turquoise. It's one of my favorite colors. Anyway, that was your option 2. All right, so for number 3, this is a must for most musicians, even if they don't know they want it, and guaranteed you're pretty safe in guessing that if you get it for them, it's something they needed regardless. You don't even really have to ask. And that is a music stand. Now, I'm going to start with one that I wouldn't necessarily recommend because it's way out of most people's price range, but I don't know your lifestyle or your family, so I'll just throw it out there. If it's going to live in the living room, because maybe that's where the instrument lives, and you want something beautiful in your living room as a piece of furniture to show that you have art in your house, you can get a beautiful wood one. This is cherry. It's gorgeous, right? So that's an option. If that's not for you, then I totally understand. I would recommend something like this. The nice thing about this is it has a laptop stand, so it's one that you can multi-purpose. A lot of musicians nowadays work with their laptops in front of them as well as music, so this is a great way to go. I'll have links for all of these down below in case you're in need. This is another great way to go if you don't think they'll need a laptop stand. This one is fairly portable. You'll notice all of these have this big thing that is not terribly portable. It's also very reliable because it's solid metal, so it's lightweight, it's aluminum. But the last one that I have in a recommendation is not a strong recommendation because I've only known these ever to break. So they're affordable and they're very compact, and it's a great gift. Either way, you aren't going wrong if you get it, but just so you know, eventually these always end up in the trash. Just throwing it out. I'm just saying in years gone by. So it'll get a couple good years out of it before it ends up in the trash, but at some point it will. Whereas the other ones are indestructible. For the most part, they will always end up sticking around and being useful for a long time. For number 4, I'm gonna shamelessly plug my own company and send you to our website, because we not only have all of these great gift ideas of pedals for guitar players and pedals for musicians in general that could use anything like needing to switch to different amplifiers or switch different instruments in, like ABY selectors. We also custom make kill switches and make kill switches. The Telegraph, this guy up here, works great with any instrument that plugs in. But we make something very useful for everybody, including kids in the house, and that is the Copper Sound flashlight. It's super durable, very heavy duty, awesome for youngsters. I tend to gift this myself to all of the kids in the family, and it's great for any musician to have around because a lot of pits are very dark. So when you're dealing in a very dark room with musical instruments that you might need to grab, or you might need to find a paper and you can't turn on the lights, it's awesome to have one of these available. They're super compact. They're about this big, so they're easy to grab and put into bags. And they're the perfect thing for the musician who's trying to find something on a dark stage. It's a perfect gift. So I will make sure to link that down below. Also, if you're interested, we are now doing DIY. So if you're into building your own effects and your own electronics for musicians, we have this whole section now that you can purchase from, and that's really cool. All right, and number 5, the last one, is something that we all need as musicians, no matter what instrument you play. At some point, as we get more serious into the music world, we all need an interface, and that's what allows you to connect your instruments, for those of you who aren't musicians, to the computer. So you can do things like record at home, you can do things like stream audio. I'm hooked to one right now, and that's actually one of the ones I will recommend in this. But here are some of your options. I'll start with the one I'm hooked to right now, which is one of the most affordable options, but it's a great option. It has 2 inputs. It is the PreSonus USB 96. And the reason I went with this one wasn't just because it was affordable. It was because it works really well with PC as well as Mac. And so it was a great option. Now, if you have a very dedicated musician who's a very big Mac user, this is a great way to go. This is the Volt 2 by Universal Audio. Universal Audio is one of the leading people in recording gear, and this is a great price. The reason that this isn't my number one recommendation is if your loved one goes with something that's not a Mac, Universal Audio has even though they say they work with PCs, they have a bad habit of not making something that works very well with a PC. So even the ones that are made for Windows crash all the time. Trust me, I used to own the Apollo that was made for Windows, and it was just a nightmare. I ended up finally just getting rid of it and replacing it with what I have now. But these work great with Mac, so if there's someone who's a big Mac user who is a big musician, it's a great way to go. Also, these work great with Macs and with PCs, and that is the Focusrite Scarlett. They work a little bit better with Macs than they do with PCs, but they still work pretty reliably, so it's a great way to go. Those are the 5 ideas that I had that I thought I would put out. This is a work Wednesday, but I'm going to try and actually get it out tonight, which is Tuesday, so that you still have enough time to do some of that shopping before the holidays are over. If you're a musician watching this and you've watched the whole thing, thank you. And share this with your loved ones so that they have some ideas, because we also are notoriously bad at asking for what we find useful. And some of these things are really useful. Even if you don't think they're useful, you'll love them in the long run. So that being said, there is an honorable mention, which I thought I would share with you, which is if the loved one in your life is a guitar-focused loved one and they like the company that I am co-owner of, Copper Sound, we have merch. And so we have these awesome shirts that are available. They're nice and affordable, and it's a great gift for the holidays. I personally love the blue one right here, which is a blueprint of the schematic of the Telegraph stutter, which we just re-released. It's a great gift. I'm wearing one of these right now underneath here. I've got this one over here on. Yeah, anyway. Happy holidays, everybody. Enjoy. See you tomorrow for Theory Thursday.